what's up, everyone? Thanks for listening. Hey, what's up, everyone? Thanks for listening to the Way Too Serious podcast. This is your host here, Jerry Larson.
Hey, what's up? It's Josh. How's it going, man?
It's going all right today. It is a sad, sad day in Way Too Serious podcast history. Not to preface the episode, but this is our year in review. Final episode of season 1. We've made it. It's been a journey. I'll give it that. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I've had to wrestle my dog a few times. That's always fun. But it's going good.
Yeah, that's good. Oh, there she is right now.
She just kind of apparates in the background.
That is what it is. Yeah, aside from that, though, knowing that this is the last episode of season 1, everything else is going good, though. It's peachy. We've been dealing with some wind out here as of recent, but, weather is weather.
Wind or just regular wind?
Just wind. There's no such thing as tornado wind in California.
Did you wear a windbreaker?
I don't even know if those were named windbreakers for what they're...
Why were they called windbreakers, honestly? Let's look this up. Why are windbreakers called windbreakers? We gotta look up windbreaker.
I already know.
History.
You're gonna look it up. It's gonna say they call them windbreakers because they're jackets that help break the wind.
Windbreaker or a wind cheater is a thin fabric jacket designed to resist wind chill and light rain, making it a lighter version of the jacket. They're descendants from parkas.
See, I kind of think they called them windbreakers because if you're like a tiny person and you wear one, they're so thin that it can actually work as a kite and you get carried away with the wind.
They're going to paraglide away and they're just going to be like, woo!
Yep, that's exactly what I think. But yeah, outside of that, it's all good though. Everything's going pretty good. We planted that garden. I don't know if I mentioned that to you.
You did.
I finally, nothing sprouted yet, surprisingly, but it's gotten like freakishly cool outside afterwards, and it hasn't rained since I started my garden. So it's been kind of like cloudy, but stay tuned. We'll see. Hopefully by the time season 2 rolls around, I'll have some plants that are in the garden.
According to this is our year in review, so it has to have been a year. So if a year's passed since we've started this whole podcast, your garden has to be bigger. It's a big garden, obviously. We talked about this many times, how it's a big garden. You can grow hot peppers, potatoes, cabbage, celery.
No.
The whole produce department in your garden.
You're getting mixed up. I think you're confused on a few things. I think you're confused on the size of my garden because we've covered that. I'm limited to a small little trough. I think I've even sent...
a planter?
Yes, I think I've sent you...
a planter? You told me it was a garden.
The garden is what is inside of the planter. You're making That's
not a garden. That's like a little, a greenhouse.
No, you're not very good friends with Webster. You need to understand the definition of what a garden is before you think. It doesn't have to be defined in a backyard. That's not what a garden is.
So size doesn't define a garden?
No, I don't think there's specific sizes. The other thing you're confused about is that even though we are calling this a year in review, it has not been a year since we've released the podcast. It
feels like it's been a year.
Yeah, it feels like it, but we released in January of this year, January 2024. So, really, we've done this for a quarter, but I think we've covered a lot of content, a lot of good subject matter. I will say I'm a little disheartened that in this entire quarter, we've been hearing from some of the listeners, and we're very grateful that you guys are listening, keeping up with it and stuff. But we haven't had any ideas of what we should talk about, so we still have to brainstorm week in, week out, and figure out what is it that we want to talk about. So,
I think out of this, we've got a big takeaway for ourselves. We need to take a couple months, take a hiatus after this episode, regroup, come back stronger, maybe bring a couple of guests with us. Let's have some fun with this. We kind of teetered on the edge of being on the safe side this season. Next season's going to be more fun. We're going to have a lot more craziness.
It is going to be fun. We'll cover that later on in the episode, though. We'll get to what our expectations are for season 2 after. We got to do the year in review first. So before we get all into that, let's start this year in review.
Before we do that, though, we'd like to give a huge thanks to our sponsor, ourselves. We sponsor ourselves because nobody has sponsored us yet. We give shameless plugs on every episode. And this week's shameless plug, it's to you, Target. We go to Target so much. Target, you should sponsor us. We give you lots of money. We keep you in business. I mean, not us personally keep you in business, but we keep you in business. We're part of the solution here. And Coca-Cola, throw a sponsor. We drink a lot of Coke Zero on this podcast. It keeps us running. I mean, the world doesn't run on Dunkin'. This podcast runs on Coca-Cola Zero. Give us a sponsor.
True. Yeah, I mean, you're really shooting every episode. Your shameless plug gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Like, I know you tried to get in the white whale PlayStation and Sony last time.
I tried my best, man.
I haven't heard from them. Have you? You haven't gotten any calls from Sony?
I haven't, honestly, but that's because I probably submitted way too many reports on my 2K on my PS5 just because it's crashed probably a good 20 times. And every time I'm like, still isn't fixed. They put add a comment and I put still isn't fixed. That's my comment.
You're really giving them a lot to work with too. Like you give them the problem, you present it, and then you just let them know. Yep, still haven't been fixed.
Still haven't fixed this yet. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. You just have to fix it. Something's broken, you fix it. I mean, that's a logical step in the right direction. I mean, come on, Sony. What's going on?
Maybe next year. Maybe during the next year in review, they will have fixed your problem by then.
It'll be a full year at that point.
Who knows? But you're getting way too ahead of schedule. We haven't even talked about season 2 and discussed what's going to happen, when it's going to happen.
I should stop living in the future. Instead, I'll live in the past. That seems like a great idea.
Let's live in the past. So, episode 1, we covered New Year's resolutions, and this happened very shortly after New Year's. It was a couple weeks out. I think we had recorded the episode actually maybe a week after New Year's. I don't even know. New Year's resolutions were fresh at that point, right?
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think I made any New Year's resolutions. I think that was my New Year's resolution, was to not make a New Year's resolution. And I would love for somebody to pull up that clip and just tell me, you actually did. Ha 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 ha. You suck. That would be the dream for me right now. If somebody went and just called me out on my crap, I would really enjoy that. Personally, I find humor in it.
Are you talking outside of the episode? Because when we aired the episode...
I'm talking in the episode. If I said it in the episode, please tell me I misquoted my own self.
No, you did. You did not give New Year's resolutions. We had you pull up a notepad, and you wrote, I think you deleted last year's or something, and then your thing said something along the lines of, ask me again next year.
Yeah. Well, in the next year in review, they can ask me that, and it'll probably still be the same answer, honestly. Kudos still to Anderson Cooper. I think we don't give enough credit to what that man did on New Year's Eve many eons ago. He took way too many shots, and he got way too lit, but he was having fun with it, and I think his New Year's resolution was probably do less shots next year, or maybe do more. I don't know. I mean,
yeah, and I also want to just point out that I kept fudging on his name. I kept calling him Cooper Anderson, I think.
Cooper Anderson Cooper, same person.
Since that episode aired, I've learned that his name is Anderson Cooper. So, apologies. But another side note about Anderson Cooper, if you go on YouTube and search him, I think there's other things of him, just funny moments where he's consuming alcohol, just doing stuff that's out of character. So, I would say look it up. Definitely YouTube Anderson Cooper best moments. I'm sure you're going to get a hoot out of it. It's probably very funny.
Speaking of YouTube, there's a great video out there. It's from this guy. He was on The X Factor over in the UK, and he made a song called Friday Night. It is one of the worst songs ever written, and it is so funny how he does it, and I can appreciate him memeing, honestly. It was fun. I mean, everybody was really getting into it.
That sounds like who wrote that other song, Last Friday Night? Isn't that a Katy Perry song?
I do believe that's a Katy Perry song. Last Friday Night.
Yeah, Last Friday Night.
It's fair. Last Friday Night by Katy Perry. Yeah. I mean, maybe she'll re-release that song and call it Katy's version. I mean, that's kind of the trend going on right now, right? Taylor's version, and then we got Katy's version.
I don't think that's a trend. I think she had to rename it Taylor's version because of like contract disputes with her previous recording
Maybe
artist.
Katy Perry
Just
has
threw her over.
contract disputes. I mean, maybe that's why she retired. I mean, that's a conspiracy.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the whole case. It could also be because she took a judging position on like one of those shows, but I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure. Maybe it's because she was a judge on American Idol, right? I'm pretty sure that took over.
Can I play this song for you?
Um, I don't know. This is kind of a loaded question because I have no idea what's going to be played.
That's okay. You will appreciate it.
All right, fine. All right, I'm waiting because right now it is not playing.
I've got it pulled up. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
Should probably lower the sound of my computer so it doesn't kick back, make it hectic.
Yeah, man, you good?
I'm all right, yeah.
Good to meet you.
This has been a wacky day.
Oh, you guys. Why do we have
It is
dry
a
eyes?
smoke machine, really.
What's happening?
Good luck, man.
Thank you. Hello, guys. You all right?
Hey.
Nice to see you.
What is your name?
My name is Vic Martin.
And what brought you here?
Well, I had goals and dreams, and I
I
was
think I've seen this actually.
taking them.
And Beck, do you work?
I do, yeah, I do.
What do you do?
I work really hard. I work as a gym instructor, and I work as a manager in McDonald's.
I like the fish burgers.
He likes the fish fillets. Fish burgers.
Loves a fillet of fish. Simon loves a fillet of fish.
What are you going to sing, Fred?
I think fish burgers are actually a
Friday
thing
night.
too.
It's just my original song.
What's it about?
It's about Friday night.
All right, have some fun.
Ready? I was working all week. Nothing exciting. I was waiting all week. So boring. But tonight I'll go out because it's Friday night. I wanna keep moving all night. I wanna dance
All night.
all night. And I wanna drink
All
all
night.
night. And I wanna party all night. And I wanna enjoy this night because it's Friday
Friday
night.
night.
Everybody hands up.
It's all right.
All right, I think I've seen enough. I've seen enough.
Anyways, this guy actually got moved on to the next round with this song.
I mean, there's some creativity. I'm not gonna lie. Like the beats he made, because you have to think the guy actually made the beats and the music to the song too, and the beats kind of catchy if you like get into that dubstep kind of stuff. I don't know.
You know
And,
why? Because it's Friday night.
I mean, listen to the lyrical genius behind that, though. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, I've been working all week. That's very factual, right? Like,
No, I mean, he was just saying. He just spoke his mind, honestly.
that's his art form. Yeah, congratulations for making it on to the next round. I am
Oh, Beck
proud
Martin.
of that guy. Did he win DX?
No, he didn't win. He got to the next round, and they said, you can't just keep reusing the same song. And he straight up said, he's like, I don't even remember the words to that song.
That's pretty funny. Well, maybe next year his New Year's resolution will be to, practice writing new music.
Maybe it'll be Thursday night, dude. And I mean,
I wouldn't mind hearing that song, knowing what happens on his Thursday night,
I go to bed all night.
because it's Thursday night. Oh my gosh. Yeah, but New Year's resolution was a fun recap of like how you and I specifically think that people sometimes take New Year's resolution seriously.
Oh, way too serious.
And I'll admit, I've seen less and less people come into the gym, as I had mentioned. Like, obviously, that wasn't my resolution. I just continue to go in and do workouts at the gym and stuff. But some of the people that were there at the start of the year started to taper off. I was not wrong. I
I mean,
definitely.
you see less people trying to like go on runs too now.
Oh, yeah.
And I
and
mean,
it's starting to get nicer.
yeah,
That's the
it's
weird
getting
thing.
beautiful outside, and they just were like, I hit my New Year's resolution goal. That's enough. I
Yeah,
peaked.
it is what it is. So then episode 2, what brings us to that episode. Episode 2 and 3 was a 2-part special that we talked about sports ball, where we uncovered a top 10 list. Was it a top 9? I forget how many. Top
It was
8?
top 9. We should have made it a top 10, honestly, because we had an honorable mention there. But we just made a top 9 with an honorable mention, which literally is a top 10. I mean,
I think it was a top 8 with an honorable mention.
Oh,
I think we
shoot.
were one outside of the top 10. We were like, we should have just came up with one extra.
we should have just
I think
come up
that's
with
fair.
one more. I mean, with all the stuff going on, especially in the NBA, we could have easily done that, especially like with the recent news of Juwan Howard being fired from the University of Michigan. I mean, they've had an atrocious record this year for Michigan, but yeah, I should have went with the top 10. That's our bad.
Well, it's interesting because like when we did that top 10 list for sports, we were talking about the University of Michigan in a completely different sport. Because at that point, back when we aired this in January, the coach from the football team had recently gone through some stuff where he had to sit out for that championship game. Michigan ended up
stealing.
winning,
Yeah.
right? Like, so they won the championship, and then now
Yeah.
we're looking at college basketball.
And they just fired their coach. Well, he's going to be fired going into the next season because 6-24. Come on, Michigan, y'all can do better. I mean, it's the Big Ten. I mean, you're not even the best conference anymore. The Big 12 has kind of beaten you out for that. I mean, they've got like 7 or 6 ranked teams.
Yeah, it's crazy because like Juwan Howard, the soon-to-be ex-head coach, went to University of Michigan, was in the Fab Five. I don't know if you remember those years. Chris Webber, it was Juwan Howard. I don't know the rest of the Fab Five because I think they were the only two that actually went on to play pro ball after that.
I think there were
time.
a few more actually on that team that actually did go into the NBA.
The Fab
Wasn't Jalen
Five.
Rose in there?
Jalen Rose was also on that Fab Five team. You're right. Yes, Jalen Rose was another one. I think.
I think there was just one person that didn't make it. Ray Jackson and Jimmy King.
Those two did not make it.
Ray Jackson did not make it. You are correct. And Jimmy King, did he make it? He played
Does
for the Raptors for one season. He was the 35th pick of the 1995 draft. But he was bad. He went to like Guangdong or something.
Yeah, he was not a crazy person for that. But so favorite part of that sports ball episode, I think it was fun because you and I obviously we both love sports, right? Like we love mainly basketball. We banter back and forth. We text about basketball quite frequently. So I think that sports ball episode was really fun, at least for us, right? Like we felt like people may or may not have vibed with it if they're not sports viewers. But what was your favorite sports topic that you remember from that top 10 list?
I know we talked about Draymond, and Draymond was suspended at the
That's
time.
right.
Draymond
Yes.
had to do some breathing exercises, and then he got reinstated in the NBA. Now, when I say breathing exercises, I don't want people to think he actually did breathing exercises. He did not do just breathing exercises. He actually had to go through anger management. He had to go through sensitivity training and all that jazz. He basically had to be recultured about all those things because Draymond was kind of being a D-bag. That's the nicest way I can put it. Draymond fixed his ways kind of, but I mean, Draymond still plays with passion. Draymond still will antagonize the other team. I mean, Draymond has not changed. It's like asking a dog to not be a dog and instead be a cat. Now, I don't know about you, but dogs can't be cats. I think a dog is a dog. And I think
Unless
a
you
cat...
watch Cat Dog, Nickelodeon.
Unless you watch Cat Dog. You're right. I'm sorry. Cartoon Network, if that's where it's from. Cat Dog, yes.
I think it was Nickelodeon.
No, Nick Jr.? That one?
I think it was Nickelodeon, like not Nick Jr. It was
I mean,
definitely-
Nickelodeon played the Super Bowl, and that was pretty entertaining to watch when they like animate everything.
Yeah. So carry on with Draymond. Sorry, I was just
Draymond has not really pushed us into title contention this season, if I'm being honest. I love me some Warriors. I can admit when we should probably throw in the towel. We're a 10 seed right now. I don't think it's really a whole lot different from when we talked about this in January. We're a 10 seed. We're in the play-in. We're not any better, though. I mean, we're still the 10 seed. We still have to win 2 games before we're even in the playoffs.
That's
Yeah,
true.
I mean, it's looking pretty bleak. But that's just like a testament to how stacked the Western Conference is. I mean, that's crazy that the Warriors are actually, they have a positive win record, and we're in 10th. In the East, I think after like the 8th seed, they've got negative win records.
It's actually kind of funny. So I thought the same thing that you're thinking about the Eastern Conference. When I looked at it the other day, the 10th seed is actually only a couple games below 500. The race in the Eastern Conference is just as wild as the race in the Western Conference.
Is it the Bulls?
Yeah, I
It's the
think
Bulls
the Bulls
10 seed?
are at 32 and 34 or something. They're like 2 games below. They might have, I don't know if they bettered their record to 33 and 24 now, or 34 now at this point.
Atlanta is at 29 and 36, and the Bulls 32 and 35.
Yeah, I saw that. And then aside from that, though, the Eastern Conference shapes up. It's like both sides. I think 1 or 2 games can change someone from going like, because Sacramento the other night was in the A seed, right? They jumped up to 6 now outside of the play-in from that win from the Lakers. That was just one win, and they shifted from 8th to 6th.
Dallas and Phoenix lost that too, so that helped them out.
Yeah. So it's kind of crazy. I think we're going to see a lot of that. But, you know, if we were to redo a top 10 list now, I think so much has happened since. Like, I think we went pretty recent at that point, like within the month. But, like, everything that's happened in sports over the course of, like, January up till now. Just last week, one funny video I'm sure you've seen is when Chris Paul got a technical foul, and then he goes and gives the ref a technical foul. Have you seen that clip?
I have.
Like,
That ref
classic
did
Chris.
deserve that tech.
I agree. I mean, it's just kind of comical to see him. I'm surprised the ref didn't try to eject him after that because, you know,
I think he
he's
knew he'd
taunted.
done screwed up, and he was like, you know what? I deserve this. I deserve the wrath of CP3.
Yeah, it was very interesting. But that was sports ball. That was like a 2-part special of us just talking the top 10 list. When was it? Was that the first episode we introduced doing the MVPs and then the hypocritical section? I don't remember if we did that in episode 1.
I believe we did MVPs, maybe episode 1, but I think hypocritical moments was introduced in episode 2. Episode 1 was just kind of trying to find our groove with stuff. The conception of a podcast was born, and we were like, oh, yeah, let's just roll the camera, see where we end up at. And here we are, a whole year later.
No, it's still not a year.
Maybe
It's
if I say it a
coming.
few more times, it'll be true.
Yeah, maybe. I don't think so.
Yeah. Who's to say? Hakuna
Probably.
Matata.
And then we moved on into the next episode phase, which was episode 4 and 5, where we talked about the trends of time, like different trends that over time people took way too serious at that point in time, but then they died out. Like, I think my favorite one we talked about in that, some of the fun behind that episode for me was creating the promo video for it, which I had a hell of a time creating that promo video. Like, it only took me about like 30 some odd minutes, but me and my wife crunched it out. She helped with a lot of the editing stuff. So just on like the promo videos. So a lot of the stuff that we worked on with promo videos, her and I would sit down the night before the release date. I'd like spitball some ideas, tell her like what I'm thinking, and then she'd just help me put them into CapCut, and then we'd end up throwing that thing out. And that was one of the fun ones I did.
That was the video that got taken down
That's
by
what's-
TikTok.
Yes, that's what started my hatred towards TikTok as well. Like, I was all gung-ho on TikTok, like seeing people blow up, go viral on TikTok. I was like, oh, cool, maybe one of our videos will hit something cool. And so I go in there, I add this, and it gets removed because Joe Exotic does a pow pow. He even says pow pow, and then it's just a fake explosion. Apparently, I promoted violence. And, you know, to the TikTok lovers out there that are going to back them up no matter what, I apologize for promoting violence on TikTok. That's my bad. I should never put Joe Exotic in a position to do something like that. But we did that, and it is what it is. But I really enjoyed, I don't know if people have seen it. You've seen the movie Funny People, right? Where Adam Sandler is like the comedian. Oh my gosh, that movie is freaking hilarious. And he goes up on that stage and like, you know, Seth Rogen's in that movie too. And he plays this guy named Ira. And he walks up to the stage and he takes all of Adam Sandler's jokes. And then he's like, well, what jokes am I going to say now? Because he was supposed to be the joke writer for Adam Sandler, but he had a couple minutes before and used up all his jokes. But man, it's just funny because at that time, I think MySpace was already on the decline. And then they did this
Facebook
movie.
was like emerging, and
Yeah.
MySpace was literally on its deathbed.
Good times though. That was so what's your favorite trend though? Like all the trends that we talked about, like I know what mine is, but I'll let you speak on yours first. Out of all the trends we talked about of trends of time, which one was your favorite that we got to talk about?
I really enjoyed the Fave 5. That kind of was a throwback for me. I never got the Fave 5, but I always enjoyed the commercials, the NBA commercials. Those were always fun for me. I think it was a nice reminder of how now they just kind of throw in call for free with lots of your phone plans. Honestly, they don't even care about call or text. They're just like, oh, heck, take call and text. We don't really care. And I remember back in the day, like, you could rack up a huge phone bill based on text alone. I mean, 10 cents a text. And say you have like a full-on conversation with somebody and you end up throwing like 1,000 texts out there. Well, you might end up getting $100 bill for your phone just for that line. And now they're just like, oh yeah, call and text is free and you get like this much data. Like even data, they don't care much about how much they give you. So it was nice to see like, oh, I got to talk to these 5 people for free throughout the whole day. And I had to wait till nights. And a lot of relationships hinged on the fact that you could talk at night until you added them to your Fave 5.
Yeah, free minutes were at 9 p.m.
Yeah, and don't even get me started about roaming minutes. Good gosh.
I remember those times too. Like I used to be sitting outside and like on the phone and stuff, and then like I found out that the one plan didn't end up having those minutes and stuff after night. So I ended up, me and mom switched phones at the time, and like she had rollover minutes. I think I went through all her rollover minutes and stuff, and then they got this fat bill. I was like $200 and $300 some dollars, which like in today's day and age, that's probably fairly normal for a cell phone bill. Like with all the device fees and stuff, that's kind of what it all chalks up to now. But like back then, that was one cell phone racking in like $300 for a bill. Like, dude,
it was everybody.
insane.
It was communal property there.
Oh yeah. But I remember, that's a good one. I did like the Fave 5. I think my favorite one, honestly, like, because I vibe with MySpace. Like, I really miss having MySpace back in the day. Being a music artist at the time, like writing music with my buddies in high school and stuff, is a cool way to like still express yourself on a profile page. Like, Facebook never got up to speed with that, like having music players and like, yeah.
I don't think they're there now. They don't even care. They're just like, yeah, we don't care.
Yeah, I mean, I think they've done a great job with like Marketplace and like a lot of things to get, other avenues of using a social media platform. But personally, I really enjoyed MySpace. Like, I think you could see people's personalities a lot more because you got to express yourself in your background, the theme that you chose for your MySpace profile, your music playlist and stuff like that. It was like, it gave you a chance to go out there and be a little more creative. And like, you could understand people like, oh, this person's into this similar stuff too. Like, why do they have a glittery pink background? Probably because they're a super big girly girl. I don't know.
Got Paramore as the music. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, then you can know exactly who likes what, right? And then I don't know. I don't know if I'd go and venture into this and saying, was MySpace too ahead of its time? Do you think it was like a Sega Dreamcast situation?
No, it wasn't. I think it was a time when people didn't have phones and they were like, oh yeah, this is like all the hubba bubba or whatever. I don't know. I was pizzazz. Is that the word I'm looking for? Pizzazz? It was all the pizzazz. Is that what the kids are saying now?
But yeah, I guess so. Well, that was fun to like look back and reminisce though. Like I remember like taking those way too serious back in the day, and like, a lot of people did too. And now
I will say a trend that will probably end up taking off is that song Friday Night. That trend's going to take off. Just you wait.
If you want to start that trend, I mean, the trend I'm trying to start is Mustache March. Like at the office the other day, there's a guy I work with who had a mustache and he shaved. He's like, oh, I want to try this out. And then he was really bummed because he's like, yeah, I heard about that thing. Like someone was starting Mustache March. And I was like, dude, that was literally me. Like I started that, but I think he overheard from like one of my coworkers I was talking about, because the first day I came in March, they're like, what happened to you? And I was like, what are you talking about? And then they're like, did you always have that mustache? And I was like, no, I mean, I had a beard. And they honestly didn't even realize I had a beard.
Should have done it on March 10th, and then you would have been like, it's Mario Day. Wahoo!
Dude, they thought I grew this over the weekend. like a full on mustache. Like, oh, were you clean shaven the other day?
I mean, you just roll with it, honestly, at that point, and they're just like, wow, he can grow a mustache in 3 days. That's impressive.
Yeah, I mean, I probably could in 4 or 5. I don't know about 3. 3's kind of a stretch.
We're gonna hold
Maybe
you to
after
that
a
for next
long
season.
weekend. Yeah, who knows? Well, there's also Movember. I'm going to ask you to take part in Movember. So,
Mustache
Yeah.
Movember?
well, it's just called Movember for mustache, but yeah.
No. Isn't that
Yeah,
for
we
like
can
men's
do-
prostate cancer or whatever?
I wish I knew. I just know people grow mustaches. I think you're right. I think that is what that's for.
I think there was an episode of like The Office that talked about it.
Yeah, interesting. Then we trailed into the next episode, which would have put us at episode 6, where we took quizzes. Our favorite quiz that we took. What was your favorite quiz? I already think I know that you really enjoyed the Disney Princess quiz because you had so much enthusiasm that day when we took that quiz.
Here's my answer for you. My favorite quiz was the Harry Potter sorting quiz because we
didn't
never
take
took
that.
it.
We didn't take that quiz.
Exactly. That's why it was my favorite quiz.
Oh, I thought you were going to say the Enneagram, and I was about ready to just
Oh,
end
gosh,
the
no.
podcast right now.
You know what? Let's put this to rest.
What's my
Yeah.
favorite quiz, though? You never asked me.
Well, I already know your favorite quiz. Your favorite quiz is the Enneagram.
No, my favorite quiz
It was the
Well,
NBA one.
was the NBA one.
Because you're LeBron.
Actually, no, the Marvel character one was actually pretty cool because I didn't expect to be who I was. Like, I did not expect the answer to be Ant-Man. Like, congratulations, you are Ant-Man. I thought I answered everything. Well, I did answer everything honestly, but I thought I was going to be compared to RDJ as Iron Man, and that did not happen. So I was kind of thrown off. It was like a reality check. But all right, now you can carry on with your piece.
We were told we should do the Harry Potter quiz. Some of our fans have spoken, some of our listeners. I think we have to put this to rest. I think we have to take the Harry Potter which house are you quiz.
All right, and we will deliver on this. Do you want me to take it first? We're going to do a screen share for this. Then they know that we're answering honestly. Do you want me to go first?
I'll go ahead and share my screen out first. I'll
All
let
right,
people
you do
see.
it first.
Keep me honest, everybody. All right,
All right, Harry Potter.
here we are.
let's
Quiz
do it.
time. Do I go with the moon or the stars? I think the stars are cooler. All right, which road tempts me most? The twisting left, strewn path through the woods, the wide sunny grassy lane, the narrow dark lantern lit alley, the cobbled street lined with ancient buildings. Well, the ancient buildings kind of creeps me out. Same with the narrow dark lantern lit alley. Why would that appeal to you? What are you trying to do? Are you trying? Is this like a Batman origin story? No. I'm gonna go with the wide sunny grassy lane. I don't. Why would I want the less strewn path? I mean, this is just like Hansel and Gretel. I mean, what's wrong with you? Next question. Once every century, the flutterby bush produces flowers that adopt their scent to attract the unwary. If it lured you, it would smell of the sea, home, a crackling log fire, fresh parchment. All right. Let me just say, a crackling log fire, your home could smell like a crackling log fire. So if you pick home, your home really can't smell like the sea unless you live on the beach. I mean,
I think you're giving it too much thought. You just have to
I
answer.
think
what would you
I'm
like to-
critiquing them because I think this is a valid critique. I'll go with home because
we don't
why
have time
not?
to be
Okay.
critics. I still
All
got
right,
to take
choose a
this test.
category to continue. Cats, toads, or owls. Where's none of the above? I
You
don't
gotta
like
pick
toads and I
one.
don't like cats. I mean, do I go with a cacaw owl? I'll go with an owl. What kind of owl do I have to? I have to pick now. This isn't fair. I
Oh,
like
that
the
one
fat one.
was- Then pick the brown owl.
I'm gonna go with the brown owl. After you have died, what would you most like people to do when they hear your name? Ask for more stories about your adventures? Miss you but smile? Think with admiration of your achievements? I don't care what people think of me after I'm dead. It's that they think of me while I'm alive that counts. That's a very like direct statement about that. This one's kind of weird to me. They're just like I miss him. And they just like softly smile. I feel like this one would like be Dumbledore totally. Like Harry just thinks of Dumbledore then smiles and you're just like, what is he thinking about? Like that's a weird like scene. Would you rather be liked, trusted, feared, envied, intimidated, praised, imitated, not intimidated, imitated. I think being trusted is very nice. What are you most looking forward to learning at Hogwarts? Hogwarts isn't a real place. I want to be honest. I think you already know which one I'm gonna pick. If you had to take a guess, what would you guess?
Not that one. Not that one. It's one of the first two.
I'm right-handed. All right, what am I gonna get? Oh boy, Sorting Hat is ready to make its decision.
Where you're at? Where'd you get sorted to?
Probably Hufflepuff, honestly.
I'm ready to see that I'm a Gryffindor. You're right. It was a Hufflepuff.
I'm just Hufflepuff. I'm not Gryffindor. I'm not like that, but I'm not Slytherin or Ravenclaw either. I'm not a snake, so I think Hufflepuff is appropriate. I'm not surprised by that. My wife is like a big fan of Robert Pattinson, and Robert Pattinson was Cedric Diggory, so this makes sense.
All right. Now let me take mine. All right. I want to make sure we cover everything today in the episode because this is the year in review.
We have to tie up loose ends.
All right, let's do a screen. Here we go. All right, can you see this?
I can. Are we
Harry
taking it
Potter.
from the same site? We are. The Wizarding
Start
World.
the sorting ceremony. Here we go. Dawn or dusk? Oh, that's a tough one. I like dusk. 4 goblets are placed before you. Which would you choose to drink? The smooth, thick, richly purple drink that gives you off delicious smell of chocolate and plums. The mysterious black liquid that streams like ink and gives off fumes that makes you see strange visions. The foaming, frothy, silvery liquid that sparkles as though containing ground diamonds. Or the golden liquid so bright that it hurts the eye, which makes sunspots dance all around them. I'm going with the diamonds.
Really? Not the first one? Ooh.
No. All right, cats, toads. I don't like toads either. I saw one of the owls that I thought looked really cool when you were going through it.
Wasn't
I
a fan
really
one.
like this guy. All right. How would you like to be known in history? The great, the wise, the bold, the good. I'm going to go
You're
with
the
the
bold,
great.
you're the bold and the beautiful.
No, I want to be the great. Late at night, walking alone down the street, you hear a peculiar cry that you believe to have a magical source. Do you draw your wand and stand your ground? Withdraw into the shadows to await developments?
I feel like they're all
Momentum.
downhill from here.
What's it?
I feel like they're all downhill from the first one.
Oh, well, I have to read through them. Withdraw into the shadows to await the developments while mentally reviewing the most appropriate defensive and offensive spells should trouble occur. Draw your wand and try to discover the source of the noise. Or proceed with caution, keeping one hand on concealed wand and an eye out for disturbance. I'd draw my wand for sure.
But that one might
Probably the
escalate
first.
stuff if you just draw and just like
It is what it is. I want all the smoke. Liked, trusted, feared, envied, imitated, or praised. You know, part of me wants to be feared.
I feel like the trust is just the safe one.
Liked isn't bad either. I do like to be liked. But I also like to be... I do enjoy praise too. All right, I'm going to go with liked.
You saw trust, it got you Hufflepuff, huh?
No, that's not why. I figure liked. I do like to be liked. What are you most looking forward to learning at Hogwarts? Oh, I already knew when you were just clicking through them. I want to learn about the magical creatures. Those
You
are
don't want
cool.
to fly on a broomstick? What the heck?
Dude, I already know. I already know how to do that. White or black? Choose one. Well,
In
white's
terms of Harry Potter, not anything else.
white or black. I'm going black. All right. Let's see. The Sorting Hat is ready to make its
Ravenclaw.
decision.
I'm guessing Ravenclaw.
What do you got for me, Sorting Hat? Gryffindor. Oh, dang. You probably know that some Slytherin's most renowned members include Severus Snape and Bellatrix Lestrange. But did you know Merlin himself was a Slytherin? Well, I guess I'm like Merlin, I guess. I don't know, man. I don't believe that this is a very accurate test now that I see the results.
I mean, one of us knows ourselves better, and one of us.
I was sure I was a Gryffindor. I was 100% sure I was a Gryffindor.
You're the opposite. You're Draco.
Well, that was a surprise. Well, there you go. There you go, fans. We took the Harry Potter quiz. There you go. They're not as accurate as we thought they were, but it is
Kind of
what
like
it
the Enneagram, isn't it?
It's almost up there with the Enneagram at this point, yes. All right. Then after that, we talked about the great tech debate. So, favorite topic in the great tech debate. We had, I think the only one that was worthy, in my opinion, well, there's a couple. There's the PlayStation versus Xbox. I think we talked
It's
about
always
right?
PlayStation. I mean,
That one's, yeah. I don't see the worthiness in that. Since we talked about that, though, we have had a lot of great discussion about Gears of War. I talked about Gears of War with another friend when we were talking about this too. And dude, I want to see a Gears of War remake. I do want to see that.
I do as well. And I don't want to Well, you know what? We talked about tech stuff, and then we talked about video games. I feel like we can just smush those two together. I mean,
That's true. Some of them, well, I think video games is probably reserved for Pokemon, but
it is. I mean, it's a perfect shameless plug. Pokemon sponsor us. We love you. We have a lot of
Game Freak.
Pokemon stuff. For example, I have this Wooloo Funko Pop. I love
I have
Pokemon.
that same one on my desk.
I mean, it's Wooloo. Gears of War was a solid game. Yeah, Microsoft used to be winning, and then it kind of shifted to PlayStation. And I think Apple kind of has a monopoly. I mean, whoever has an Android likes to basically say, I'm a tech person. And let's be honest here. Most of the tech people I know, they have iPhones. They do. They have iPhones. I mean, it's just simplicity.
Would you argue that having an Apple iPhone right now is the trend of time of this era?
I would say it is. I mean, people being like, you don't have an iPhone? Like, the first assumption is that if you don't have an iPhone, you're broke. I mean, that's not true. I know a lot of people that aren't broke that have Androids. It's just a preference. But honestly, like, I've seen a lot of non-technical people own Androids. It's just because it's what they offered for free on that cell phone plan. Or they had a promotion. I know AT&T always has like a promotion, like get a free Galaxy on us, or trade in any year any Galaxy for a free brand new like S20 or whatever they had at the time. So, I mean, it's a trend. I don't think it's ever going to be dying out. I think Apple really needs to step up their game. Every year they kind of add like one small feature, and it's like something that Android has had forever on their phone. I mean, I have an iPhone, but I think Apple really needs to change the wheel going forward. We get marginal upgrades every year.
Yeah, I agree. I think like Apple's they're kind of at that point where they were like Microsoft, right? Like I would not be surprised if we started to see like cuz you talk about like Apple is going to be a trend that sticks for a while. I agree to an extent. Like I think they're getting a little lax on their, you know, where they're going with the direction of their phone, that these small marginal things that they change and add into a device aren't going to make a difference at some point to people. Like people are going to start seeing that and be like, I guess I could just go with, you know, this other phone. Because there are some cool phones out there. I'm not going to lie. Like they brought that one, Samsung's able to have a touchscreen phone that you can fold, which that's pretty cool technology in my opinion.
Oh, yeah. Like you can add screen size.
Yeah, which is nuts. Like some of these other Android phones are doing that. Like they're making breaks in like new technology and stuff. But I think Apple's kind of one of those things that will stick for a while. But you know, it's funny though, because we did not talk about that in the identity crisis episode, either part of people
I'm an
who
iPhone
identify
user.
as
I'm
an
an Android
iPhone
user.
Android.
You know, I mean, we can always revisit topics. We can do like this is a sequel to that. This is a follow-up. This is how we've seen like actually people have changed like their identities. I mean, we can always do follow-ups. Who's to say? The future is bright.
Yeah, that was the next episode we did after we talked Great Tech Debate. We went through the video games, which was fun too because we talked Pokemon quite frequently.
We did.
Pokemon
The first
was-
take. The first
Yeah.
take, we talked way more Pokemon, and then we redid it. For those that didn't know, we redid the video game episode because there was like a solid 20 minutes that like we talked about a different video game, and I compared it to Pokemon, and we came back to Pokemon. We didn't want people to think that we only thought Pokemon was the only video game that existed. There are other video games that we know exist, and we have played them.
yeah,
But Pokemon, gotta catch them all.
that wasn't the main reason why. Like full disclosure is the audio came in weird too because I forgot to change which microphone was being used, and I was sitting on a couch, so it picked up from a camera that was like in an echoey room compared to just speaking into a microphone. Like, tech errors. It's kind of funny how it happened right after we had the Great Tech Debate. Actually, I think it happened on the Great Tech Debate, but I was able to mess around with the audio a
You
little
could save
bit.
it, yeah.
Yeah,
Salvage that.
because I think I was sitting here at the desk as opposed to back on the couch. I was at the desk, so even though I was talking in the mic, at least the microphone wasn't as far, so it wasn't as bad. But so I could work with that. Being all the way back there on the couch was the problem, and it's funny because like during the Great Tech Debate, I'm just having this realization right now, the irony behind how we have the talk about the Great Tech Debate, and we have tech errors and issues because of like negligence to just make sure everything's right.
Difficulties. Oof.
I mean, I actually, now that we say that,
Are you recording on the right microphone?
I just checked that. So I had to double check because I was just thinking, I was like, I actually didn't check before the start of this one either. So thank God for that. But yeah. So yeah, that brings us to Identity Crisis, which was our 2-part special. Which I think was cool because we got a little more into some more, I would say, racier topics, just prepping people for what we're going to go into in season 2 and like how we want to start evolving this podcast. We got into some stuff where we got a little more serious. We got, deep down into the nitty gritty of what it means to identify in certain things and how that can be detrimental to others. Like, I had a lot of great, like, thoughts after that. I don't know about you, like when we talked about Identity Crisis in general, I think it brought up a lot of good points when we were talking through that stuff.
Oh yeah, I mean, we find our identity so much in things we have in this world, things we do. And again, we don't want it to be a shame to anybody. Like, we don't want to put anyone down because you should take pride in what you do, what you have. Always take pride in that stuff, but it's important not to get lost in those identities. We're all human beings. We all make mistakes. We all feel feelings. I mean, we shouldn't treat somebody just because of what they identify in if it's not what we identify in. And yeah, it was a really good topic. It was really nice to pivot from just kind of lighthearted, and it was one of the more racier topics that we've talked about. And yeah, like Jeremiah said, we're going to go into season 2. We want to tackle more of those topics. We feel like we should live up to our name. People take some things way too serious. We didn't take ourselves serious enough, and I don't think we will in the next season. But yeah, that definitely spurred some better topics. I mean, we'll get more serious, like maybe 10% more serious about some of these topics, but baby steps. We're still growing.
Yeah, and I want to touch base on that too. Like, I think Identity Crisis was a great way to identify, like, as the human race, as other human beings, we need to support others. This is coming, a few years after the pandemic reopened everything in the world. The pandemic gave us a huge realization of how to, reach out to other people that you haven't talked to in a while. Make sure you still mend those relationships, like care for others, because everyone's going through this same crisis at the time that no one had experienced. Like, the last thing that we've seen with the medical thing that was of that magnitude was back during, I don't even know, like maybe the plague. I think anthrax happened in the 90s, but like anthrax wasn't a like global pandemic. I don't know that we've seen a global pandemic, like anyone alive still today has seen a global pandemic happen.
Yeah.
I think the plague was the last like global pandemic, and that
We
was
weren't
back
even alive.
yeah, way back in I think late 1800s is when the plague was. But so like that was a cool time to just identify with like how to support one another in the things that they believe in. Like and I think we've reiterated this in multiple episodes. Like people are allowed to believe in what they believe in. People are allowed to like, you know, support what they want to support. Everyone is open to have their own opinion on things, just like how we've been chatting about different topics throughout season 1. That was our decision to make. We had this decision to make this podcast as a platform for us to talk about issues that we see that people take way too serious, to hope that we help share these ideas with others. Hopefully, and as you guys listen to this podcast, you had some ideas spark in your brain thinking like, oh wow, you know, like I have taken some of these topics way too serious, or at times maybe I have been a little too judgmental in the way that people are. Maybe I shouldn't have reacted a certain way. Like I think one of my biggest takeaways from doing this podcast with you was like, I mean, we've talked about it offline too, is like this is a pretty cool you know, like hour-long session that we get to sit and just kind of catch up, shoot the shit a little bit, and like, you know, it's more of an escape from reality to just sit there and do some self-reflection on ourselves, as well as like talk about some fun topics and our take on them, because we're sharing our thoughts, right? Which is fun. It's very therapeutic in my opinion, is how I would describe it. So it's been a fun season, right? Like season 1's been a blast. I don't know if you have anything else to add about Identity Crisis before we roll into the last one, and then kind of give the viewers a bit of a preview of what to expect in the next year.
Yeah, I would just agree with everything you said about this podcast and kind of the platform we used it as. It's been a lot of fun this season. Looking forward to the many seasons that we have to come on it. I know we joked about getting canceled in like season 5 or 6. We're hoping not to get canceled in season 5 or 6. That's part of our future plans, is to not get canceled, not have to rebrand. We've stuck with the name. We like it. We've made shirts with it. We've had some fun with it. So that's our future goal, is to not get canceled. That's not like the sneak preview that we're talking about. I mean, anybody honestly can get canceled at any time for doing anything. I mean, we're in the 21st century. I mean, stuff happens. So
Yeah, very much so. And we try our best to stay within normal limits of, we're very sensitive to how some of the stuff we say could be affected with other people's viewership. So if someone listens to something and you take it offensive, that was not our goal. We're not trying to change and mold people's minds into believing what we believe. It's our opinion, and hopefully you just respect us at that and know that what we say is at face value, right? Like we respect people's opinions too, and we're not trying to go out there and change people's minds. We're just voicing how we feel about specific topics.
And if you think we were trying to offend you, you probably took it way too serious.
That's true, because we're not. And the last episode, which we were very, I would say, unprepared for, but we did.
I don't
it
think
anyway.
there's any amount of time that can prepare us for it. I'm gonna be honest about this. I know nothing about conspiracies. I mean, I'm not a conspiracist or conspiracy theorist. I know nothing. Everything I knew came from Google. I was upfront and honest about that. That's my working knowledge. Google and Wikipedia.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I'll be honest too, like I was not ready for that to pop up, and like we had discussed we'll do a conspiracy theory episode, but as we're trying to prove, we are very true to our word, so we did it. We still did a conspiracy theory episode, and we're committed. I will say that I am very enthused about conspiracies, though. Like something about conspiracy theories fascinates me. But I don't know the background knowledge.
You're a
of
conspiracy enthusiast, not a theorist.
Yeah, I'm a conspiracy enthusiast. I create random theories. Like, I will say I'm a conspiracy theorist on the Michael Jackson issue. I did come up with that theory that he's still alive. I'm sure other people have the same theory. I'm not the one who coined this theory.
You're
but
not the father of it.
Not that I know of. I mean, it could be possible that I was the first one who thought that, but probably not. But I'm an enthusiast, though. I do believe like some of the stuff. It's very fascinating how like there are thoughts that are put out there that maybe something happened. Maybe there's some fudging up in the in the government that really pushed something one way or the other. I don't know. No one knows, but it's fascinating to kind of research that and maybe season 2 we'll have another conspiracy theory episode where we actually do a little more research and
Maybe we
compose
bring a
that.
guest on that knows more.
That might be cool too. But that was a wrap on season 1. That's everything that we covered, all the topics. We just want to say a huge, huge, huge thank you to all the fans out there that have been listening to the podcast. The ones that reach out, and like, there's some old friends that I used to chat with in high school. I'm very grateful that they reached out. We connected. We've like chatted a bit about some of the topics we talked about. It gave me a huge, like, a journey back down memory lane with some of these people, allowing me and my mind to just remember some of those fond memories that we had growing up in high school and grade school and things like that. It was really fun. So huge thank you to you guys for listening to us, taking that time. I know sometimes going through a podcast, one episode is a huge investment because our episodes are fairly lengthy compared to a lot of other ones. Like, we're not a standard 30 minutes. Sometimes we go out to 45 or 50 minutes. It's a bit of a longer podcast. So huge thank you to everybody who's been listening and viewing the podcast, because we're super happy of how it's turned out. Not like a huge platform from analytics standpoint. Like, we've had over 100 and some odd plays, I think, which is great for us. Like, we're just happy that you guys have been able to tune in and stick with us for a full season, right? Like, I'm just happy that you guys not only took the time to listen to one episode, but listen to the entire season with us, which has been great. Josh, do you have any other closing thoughts on like thank yous and other words you want to say?
In no particular order, I've got my thank you list that I want to go through. I want to do a thank you to Olipop, Sony, Nintendo, Coca-Cola, Target. Who else is in there? Let's just throw Chuck E. Cheese in for fun. If you want to sponsor us, go for it. We can have the mouse in the house, not the Disney Mickey Mouse. We can have the Chuck E. Cheese mouse, because why not? Want to give a huge shout out to AT&T for my internet. Thank you for not failing me during these podcasts. Really appreciate it. Can't do it without you. You're welcome for that $55 a month. I also want to give a huge shout out to Consumers Energy. You guys are really the MVPs of taking billing way too serious all the time, because you send me like a $100+ bill every month, and it is so soul crushing. So I just want to give a huge thank you for that. And I just want to shout out all the people that listen to this. Thank you for listening to my sarcasm. This has been a platform for me to just choose violence and just be sarcastic every day. It's a fun time. You don't understand how much therapy this brings me.
Yeah. I mean, everything he said too, except like living in California, $100 electric bill would be a godsend. So
no, 100+. My last one was like 180.
That's still godsend here in California compared to PG&E rates out here in California. Just a quick preview on what we're expecting for season 2 as well, because we want to give you guys a bit of a idea of what to expect. We plan on taking a few months hiatus for a couple of months to start planning out season 2, what we're going to do, and all that stuff. So definitely spread the word. Help us get season 1 out there. Get some of your friends who are interested in listening to a podcast that's a feel-good 45 minutes to an hour of just laughter of us going through some stuff. We do get into some serious topics. Even if you just want to share something so then people are able to have their mind wander a bit, that's what our goal is. We want people to wander, think about things mentally, and as well as like just have an hour away from reality and just, have fun with it. That's what we're looking for. So definitely help us spread the word for season 1. Don't plan on hearing any announcements about season 2 until probably the summertime is what we're shooting for right now. We have to go into production for season 2, plan out what we want to do. But here's the fun part that we need your guys' help with. Josh, you want to tell them about our plans for season 2 on what we've been discussing over the past few days?
Yeah, so season 2, we're going to get canceled. The end. No, in a serious note, we're going to try to bring some new perspectives on to the podcast. We recognize that we're very limited and we're very same-minded. So our perspective is that of ours. I mean, we grew up together. We kind of live similar lifestyles. So we have some gaps there in our perspectives. So we're inviting some of our friends, some of our family. We welcome anybody, honestly. If you want to just sit here, shoot the crap with us, have some fun. I mean, maybe we can get a good episode out of it, but that's kind of our plans for next season. We're going to bring on more guests just to kind of broaden the topics, give us more perspective, make it more fun, share a few more laughs, and maybe grow a little bit.
Yeah, very well said. Like, if you're interested in joining us in a podcast discussion, like, please shoot us a message on social media. Just reach out to us if you already know us and you have our number and you're interested in doing this. Just shoot us a text, whatever. Like, we would love to have anybody on this podcast for an open perspective, new thoughts, new minds. It's going to be great. We're going to have a lot of fun with it, and we're really excited about season 2 coming. But, yeah, I mean, that's basically it. I think season 1's a wrap. So for the final time, we are going to say we won't catch you next time, but we'll catch you later on this summer. It's been great talking with you guys and having this podcast for season 1. So season 1's a wrap. Until the next time. Peace.
Wait a second. Time out.
All right. What?
We can't end without doing one last MVP.
All right. Final MVP, and then we're going to call it a wrap.
And this is a whole season-long MVP. TikTok, you get my MVP. I'll give you that. Here's your trophy. You took it way too serious when you took our videos down. But also, please promote our new videos. That's my shameless plug. You're our MVP.
I mean, I can't argue with that one.
You go with TikTok also?
Yeah, we're both going MVP for TikTok. So until season 2, we'll catch you guys all next time. Peace.
Peace.